Hi, I'm Ben Timmons with Technique Roofing Systems. In this video, we'll be talking about how to decide on a commercial roof coating versus a new roof. Let's take it back to the office to Kurt and Keith Timmons for an in-depth analysis on this topic.
There's a huge difference between a re-roof and a roof coating. And roof coatings, to use them, you're setting this up over a long period of time. So ideally, you've put a little thought in this before your roof even becomes to the point that it needs a coating or needs some type of major attention. And so when you put your roof on originally, you added slope if you needed slope. You lowered drains if drains needed to be lowered to eliminate as much ponding water as possible. And then you've been very proactive anytime you've had a leak or an issue with your roof to keep the underlying substrate as dry as possible. So ideally, when it comes time and you want the option to coat it, you're coating a perfectly good roof. So you're not waiting till the roof's shot, you're not waiting till it has leaks. You're coating a perfectly good roof that you know and have a history of.
A roof coating is a planned event that we can do on a building that gives us the greatest ability to stretch them, get more years out of that existing roof. And so it's not going to fix things that you've abused. It's not going to fix things that we've neglected. And it may require us to come in there and clean an area up that is saturated, that was leaking, put the roof back together so we can be able to coat that certain area. Because again, it's not a magic bullet. It's just a tool in our toolbox to use to try to take your existing roof and stretch it out for some more years.
Well, I mean, the things that make it a good option is a roof that's watertight, it's been dry, and you don't have the resources to do a complete tear down and re-roof. So you've taken care of it on a yearly basis, you know, spring, fall. You know the roof could still go another 2-3 years, but you coat it even though you know it, because now you want to stretch it out that 10-15 year limit. So you're actually being proactive because you're doing it before the roof is shot. You may coat a roof 3 to 5 years before the end of its life because you're trying to get the 15. And that's when a coating's ideal.
And another thing, touch on that, is like Kurt said, use it that point before your roof gets bad. So we're not looking for like a bunch of seams that are pulling apart or the roof is starting to really shrink and it's starting to have all these adverse effects from UV light. Your membrane itself is starting to show some degradation. Now's the time, if we're going to do something, to fix the splits or the shatters or the stacks or the curbage around there, where we can still get a good adhesion on that membrane, because a lot of our coatings that we do all about adhesion.
And then it's an elimination of a tremendous amount of risk for the building owner. A coating is not very disruptive. It only takes a few techs to install coating. They're not opening your roof up to Mother Nature or any of that type of stuff. So it's very risk adverse.
The reason this building is not a good choice for roof coating is, one, maybe the insulation's saturated. Maybe it was mechanically fastened down and it may look like fasteners are coming through the existing membrane. That's a telltale sign that the insulation's wet. We really don't want to go over wet substrate with a coating. And these are the things you really want to make sure. You want to give yourself the best ability to make the coating last as long as it's made to last.
Yeah, coating's not going to fix a roof that's trampolining out of all the corners and the parapet 90 degrees. If you didn't originally install parapets on the roof and you ran the deck sheet up the walls, coating's not going to be able to fix that. It's not going to stop the roof from shrinking if it's already shrunk tight. It's not going to give you additional fastening around your perimeter if it wasn't properly fastened around the perimeter to begin with. So them are a lot of things you got to take into account of when you can do that coating and which roofs are not applicable to that coating. But typically the roof had to be professionally installed originally to be able to even consider it to be coated. And then you need to know the history. coating's about half the price. It has almost the same life expectancy as a new roof. You know, coatings are right around the 15-year mark. New roofs are 20. It doesn't require a permit. It doesn't require the building be opened up to Mother Nature. So it's risk adverse. It takes a lot less labor. So all you're really paying for is a lot of product. It's easily repairable if you damage it, if something falls on your building, you know, if a panel gets loose on your building. So there's a lot of advantages to a coating and for a building owner versus a complete construction, major construction process, which a roof is major construction. It's major construction when you rip off a roof and open her up to the sky.